Don't put your yield at risk. Put your trust in proven solutions. Anvil Nitrogen Stabilizer, Super U Premium Fertilizer, and Tribune Nitrogen Stabilizer from Koch Agronomic Services. These products offer higher active ingredient concentrations imitator brands can't match. See the difference at defendyourn.ca.
Shaun Haney here with RealAgriculture.com and Real Ag Radio, World Radio 147 Sirius XM. It's now time for the beef market update with Ann Wasko, the Gateway Livestock Exchange. Ann, how are you doing?
I am good, Shaun. Thank you.
Okay, spring is here. Is spring bringing good cash prices for...
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, and yes.
Nice.
Spring is here. I mean, Southern Alberta. I'm in Southern Alberta today, and just it's going to be an absolutely beautiful couple of days. So weather's great. We won't talk about the moisture thing just yet because we haven't had much in our neck of the woods. But yeah, price is just crazy, and both sides of the border. So let's start in the south like we usually do. The U.S. this week saw fed cattle prices in Texas and Kansas steady to $3 higher. So that's going to be $2.10 to $2.13. Been a quiet week after the Easter break. New contract highs, if you've been following the live cattle futures market on Wednesday, it started off the week a little shaky and then just shot off again on Wednesday to new contract highs on live cattle. Certainly shaking off this outside noise that all the markets are hearing. We still, continue to watch the U.S.-China discussions around the lack of discussions around tariffs because China is an important market for the U.S. beef and pork for that matter. So that is still a concern, but the live cattle futures market did not seem to be weighing in on that too terribly much. That wholesale price as we march into the second quarter up $1 last night or from last week, $333.70 is where we sit. Wow. We're still away from that May-June timeframe. All eyes are on back in 2021, COVID, if you recall, we did hit 350 when we shorted the supply and we had packers closed and all those crazy things going on. So cutout at that point made an all-time high to 350. So everybody's kind of watching that number. Can that get challenged this year? It's a whole different deal on why it would. Supplies are tighter and demand is strong. But that's kind of why we're watching this cutout so closely.
Yeah, that even though we're looking at that price during COVID, we're getting there for kind of different reasons, and this is more sustained. Like that felt flashy and like sort of like snappy, and we had sort of a feeling that it would snap back, and we weren't really sure where we were going to end up on a weekly basis. This is a much different, sustained sort of fundamental situation.
Yeah, and this market's been grinding higher, this wholesale market, whereas you're right, in 2021, packers closed down for whatever reasons in one various week and the cutout took off. So, and then back down. And so, yeah, this one is certainly around that, but we are, watching closely the economic scenarios and how consumers are going to react to record retail prices. What happens as we move through the rest of the year. Last year, we worried about it as well. And as some say, we just climbed the wall of worry as we went all through 2024.
Yeah, demand is strong. Still.
Yep. Very strong.
Shocker. Like, really. With
the
recessionary talk, right? All I hear on the TV is about how recession, and, it's going to happen, and we're still buying beef.
Yeah, and don't forget, things have changed a bit since 2020 in terms of how consumers are buying their not just beef but groceries. There's more cooking being done at home. That was a turnaround time, and that's still held. And of course, if you're going to cook beef at home, ground beef's a great option. It's easy to do, to use, to keep, to buy, and
or to screw it up.
So ground beef continues to see exceptionally strong demand.
Yeah. And how does that impact on things like cow prices?
Well, yeah. So we talked a couple of weeks ago about record prices here in Western Canada. Well, that has continued. And this past week and a half, we continue to set new record highs on all classes of cattle. I should just mention before let's talk about the cows. I don't want to forget, Shaun, we did see our local fat cattle market this week up $11 a hundred here in Alberta.
In a week.
So, from last week.
Wow.
$4.86 a hundred that's delivered dressed. We'll see when Canfax comes out with their live average. It could be up around 290, 290 to be clear. So packer interest was very strong. Our feedlots are current. Our carcass weight on steers last week, Shaun, was 915 pounds. That's 31 pounds below last year. So it just shows you how aggressively Canadian feedlots, not the American feedlots, because their weights are up. But we're certainly running well below last year as we sell aggressively with all of these unknowns around, even though April 2nd is behind us, I still think there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of tariffs.
What's the estimations on, if you get, say we are 290, what's the P&L on those animals?
Nice.
Like hefty, like strong.
Hefty.
Well, that's good time to be good time to be in the beef sector. I'm not.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So for sure. I mean, it's been a good stretch for the cattle feeder, for sure. But then again, that's being fed all the way back through the feeder cattle and calf market as well. And then just on these high prices, where we were going to a minute ago was on slaughter cows. So Canfax reported 222 as their average on D2 slaughter cows last week. That's $50 a hundred higher than the same week last year. And last year was a record.
Yeah.
So we're in great territory. I mean, if you just take a 1,400 pound cow, we're over $3,000. That's expensive ground beef, but the supplies are short. Our cow kill's down 8%. That's on top of the 20% last year. So demand remains strong, as we talked about just a second ago, especially on the ground beef side of the market.
Okay, so what should we be watching out for then? Because when we have good times like this, I think sometimes we get a bit of the human nature is to be like, we're set for 2025, and our path is never that direct. So what in the coming weeks here? What are we watching out for?
Well, first of all, I do think producers have been, they've certainly been preparing for the unknown. So there's been a lot of, I think, taking, risk off the table in terms of pricing opportunities, whether that's hedging, whether that's livestock price insurance. So there's been a lot of that done. And I don't think I would suggest that producers are complacent at these strong prices. We'd like things to continue, but we're all also nervous about it. So we're looking at managing that price risk going forward. We're in the second quarter. This is when usually we will make our highs in terms of that wholesale price. We'll watch to see if that can keep moving higher. We already know retail beef prices are record high. Does it kind of stall out this summer? That's kind of the thinking that's out there right now about getting to a certain point, and that's probably as high as we can go for now.
Yeah, we're just getting into grilling season though.
Exactly. Like that time frame is still in front of us. So we'll watch all that, but I think the other thing we'll talk more about, I hate to end on this point, but it's in terms of that moisture and what's going to go on. There's a lot of concern, I think, in the southern part of the Western Prairies on that one.
Yeah, here in Lethbridge, it rained pretty good on Monday. I don't know what the total rainfall was, but somebody had asked me, are you guys okay with that rain right now? Like, it could rain for 2 weeks. You never refuse rain.
Shaun, you forgot to send that to East End.
You didn't get it, eh?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I don't mean to rub it in at all, but we definitely need more across the whole region. We will take whatever we can get. Indeed, one of those big, heavy, wet snowfalls would be pretty good timing.
And southeastern Saskatchewan got that this week, but again, left out of it.
And thanks so much for joining us here today for the Beef Market Update. All the best to you.
Okay, thanks, Shaun. You too.